Okay, hi everyone. Today we're talking about all the different conventional or standard meanings for the two diamonds opening bid. Now, if you've been playing bridge for a while, you probably know that there's quite a bit of meanings that you can assign to this two diamond bid. Like, there's a lot of conventions that revolve this two diamond opening bid, and realistically speaking, it's because that two diamonds is in a weird spot in terms of how much space it takes, right? So if you're thinking about a standard two diamond bid, um, standard two diamond preempts, like it takes away quite a bit of space and it forces your opponents to look for either major fit or potential swing three no. So it takes away an awkward amount of space. And also, it kind of provides a lot of space for kind of constructive auctions on top of it. Um, because you're not really that high in the auction yet. It's not like two spades or two hearts where it's very difficult to kind of fit a lot of constructive structure on top of it. So two diamonds is in this weird spot that's commonly used to solve problems and stuff. And that's kind of why there's so many different two diamonds conventions. But anyways, I'm not gonna yap a little too much here. Let's just keep on looking here. Yeah, so we're gonna get started with standard. Standard is just 5 to 11. It's a lot of systematic discussions, or stylistic discussions with you and your partner when you play standard, like vulnerability, seeding. I think it's usually not enough to just say, how do we play 5 to 11, 6 plus diamonds? You should have a better stylistic discussion on, for example, four card majors. Can you have it or not? Four card clubs sometimes. Yeah, can you have it or not? And also suit quality, whether or not you care about suit quality, aside from just vulnerability and seeding, right? Now, pros is that like everybody's playing this, so you're not really swinging against the rest of the field unless you're playing completely playing some outlandish style, right? And then you're like, this is a very safe it's just a very safe preempt in general. Like it's you don't really go for numbers that often. Like the worst results you get, sometimes you just like get double down one or double down two, and that's not necessarily those double down three, double down four things don't happen that often, and it you do have a lot of space to bet over, so reasonably constructive. And also, it is reasonably disruptive, as I have already mentioned. It forces your opponents to look for hard fit, look for spade fit, and look for no trumps, which is just difficult to do a lot of the time. Now, the cons is that this is not the most frequent of preempts. It, it kind of, yeah, it just, this strict definition, it's not too frequent. And also, four for major fits kind of get murky. So, like, if you imagine two diamond, two no trump, if you say a four card major can be in all six, in the entire range, right? So you can have a six diamond four major hand from five card points to six diamond four major hand to nine, or really terrible 10. Now that really gets difficult because now your partner, who has absolutely no game, who has game interest only your max, they bid two no. Now if you say, oh, we always bid three major, if we have the four card major, but you have the entire range, your partner has no idea whether or not they're supposed to go to game because it's a very wide range, right? Um, so the four for major fit kind of gets tricky if you play the entire range could having four card major. There's a couple of so like there's some ways you can solve this. Like if you're going to play two major forcing anyways, maybe you play two hearts as the artificial asking bid, and you play two nose hearts. That's one of the ways, but I think everything is functional here. Yeah. But overall standard is pretty good. It's nice. It's balanced. It's what it is. Next thing I want to talk about is something IHA like. So basically, Yeehaw has a lot of definitions. The traditional definition has been it's any five card diamond suit in the 6 to 12 range, right? And this is the entire structure of the Yeehaw 2s. It's just like any five card suit in the 6 to 12 range is getting open. So, but like, of course, you can move kind of ranges around. And realistically speaking, to me, when I think about EHA, is basically the idea that we're forcing people to open anything in this range. We don't care about suit quality. We don't necessarily care about side suit situations every now and then. Like, of course, you can put restrictions on top, but I think it's very important that it's when somebody says they play EHA style, is that it's 5 cards at least, and it does not matter what suit quality is. I think that is the core of EHA. Now, the pros of this is very frequent, and it's going to be a bit more destructive because the opponent knows a little less information about your hand. Like it's a bit trickier to defend against. Now the cons are just you kind of get penalized once in a while. Like you get double down two, and the opponents have no game. Quite frequently, you get not quite frequently. You go down in a number very often. Well, more often than what other the standard bidders would be, right? And realistically speaking, the other problem is that you're going to get into the wrong par score reasonably frequently. So if you're not vulnerable, it's not that big of a problem. But when you're vulnerable, the thing is that we're playing 2 diamonds instead of 2 spades, right? Like your partner has 5-3, 2-3, for example, and you have 2-4-5, 2. Right? You obviously want to be in spades, but you're not going to find spades over 2 diamonds because your partner's going to be like, well, I have 2 card diamonds too. I don't necessarily need, like 2 spades is usually not going to be a better spot than 2 diamonds. So I'm just going to pass you in 2 diamonds. Yeah, which is difficult. And the last con is that it is a bit of a constructive problem because most people play 2 major as non-forcing over it, which I'm not necessarily saying that's bad. It's just that it puts a lot of pressure on 2-0, and that kind of gets tricky a lot of the time. Especially if you're genuinely just saying, I have 5 diamonds in 6-11. Like, there's not a lot of space over 2-0, and you can't really figure everything out, right? So that's kind of the give and take with EHA. Anyways, we're going to move pretty quickly through the next couple few. So you have the Akko strong 2 diamonds. It's natural, it's 8 to 9 playing tricks. It solves a constructive problem, but like really, it's very low frequency. The constructive problem was not bad. Like you could have opened these hands 1 diamond or 2 clubs or whatever, right? And like you're using 2 diamonds, which is a space taking bid, and you're saying we're going to give up on some weekends. We're not going to have a bid for those standard 2 diamond opening, 2 diamonds openings, and then we're just going to have this strong 2 diamonds that we open like once a year. I mean, like this is not. I don't think this is very good. Benji, artificial game forcing 2 diamonds. Same thing here. You solve the constructive problem, low frequency. Surely you could have found a better way to bet these hands, and like you really want 2 diamonds to show weekends. Reverse Benji solves a constructive problem. Reverse Benji is just Benji, but like it's a bit weaker. It's the 8 to 9 playing tricks. It's artificial. It's not game forcing. Yeah, it's Benjamin is because Benjamin plays 2 clubs as like strong 2 clubs, but not quite game forcing, and 2 diamonds is game forcing. So we reverse the order, which is why it's called reverse Benji. But this is horrid. I mean, it's low frequency, same problems as everything we just talked about. Mexican 2 diamonds. Okay, it's 18 to 19 balanced. This one, I think, people play a bit more often at the higher level. It does solve a constructive problem, and realistically speaking, what this does is that it frees up the 2-no rebids in most situations. Like I don't think you're significantly better off when you open 2 diamonds, but it's when you get to use those 2-no rebids that you kind of sow the rewards a little bit. The problem with this is that it's still kind of low frequency, and like there are a lot of better ways to solve this problem, I think. Like you can play coded miners, you can play transfer wash. There's a lot of different things that you can do here, and I think there's a lot more modern methods. And the giving up the cost of 2 diamonds, like for this specific handship, is I personally think it's just too high. But if you like it, you can play it. Roman, it's just any 3 suitor, 17 to 20. It aims to solve a constructive problem, but realistically speaking, it's super low frequency. you barely had a constructive problem with these hands, and like once again, you want two diamonds to be weak. Mini Roman. This one solves a constructive problem-ish. Not really. You're still not like where you want to be. You're forcing yourself to be like what in two major, at least three minor a lot of the time. Like you might be worse off than just bidding these hands standardly. Anyways, um, frequency wise, it's okay. I mean, it's obviously more frequent than Roman, but still, it's not too frequent, and it kind of just gives up on once again gives up on valuable weekends. Common theme here. Anyways, now we're talking about precision tournaments. It's 4-4-1-5 minus a card anywhere, 11 to 15. Now, the reason why it solves an actual constructive problem is that it allows the one diamond opening bid in a strong club setting, or precision setting specifically, where you play strong club and 5-card majors, you allow the one diamond opening bid to promise two diamonds, which is nice. If anybody, like, if you played 0+ one diamond before, then you kind of knows that it's a bit tricky to play with. It's not necessarily unplayable, but it gets a little bit difficult, and usually you probably want some artificial methods to cope with it. Yeah, and realistically speaking, the precision two diamond is also a bit tricky to defend against. Something that could also be said about the Roman two diamonds, but it's kind of a yeah. But the cons of this is that you don't really have a preempt with precision, and realistically speaking, you should play this opening bid as two hearts because I mean, like you once in a while you want to pass your partner in like precision two diamonds, when you have 6-card diamond suit. But realistically speaking, what you're doing by making this with two diamonds, giving them a free double, to show diamonds or whatever they want to show, right? And this constructive problem is not the worst thing in the world. You can play 0+1 diamond, you will survive for the most part. Okay, last thing we're going to talk about Flannery two diamonds for now, and kind of solves a real constructive problem once again. These are one of those bits, like the Mexican two diamonds, is like you soda benefits when you don't open this bid. Like over one heart, you can play calculated version super comfortably. If you guys don't know what that is, that's one spade as artificial force with 0 to 4 spades and 1 ocean and 5 spades, and you can do that because you're not really missing 4 spade fits. And it is actually pretty good frequency and it's preemptive, so it kind of does the thing. But some of the cons are you're not opening actual weekends with preempts, and realistically speaking, this can be bid as two hearts. Once again, you're trying to play two major, so start there. And also, you're gonna miss 5 minor here and there, or maybe 3 minor here and there. Just like whenever your partner has a minor suit, one suitor, they're probably gonna try and play the major, even though you might have like 5-3 or 6-3 club minor fit, right? Yeah, there's some give and take here, but also once again, I think the no preempt thing is not ideal. Anyways, next thing is intermediate. So this is like pretty similar to what I would say about the precision two diamonds, where it's kind of aiming to solve a constructive problem in a strong club setting by taking away instead of taking the 3 suitor out of the one diamond opening, but you take out the diamond 1 suitors. And you're usually going to be in a bright par score here when you open 2 diamonds here. And it is pretty reasonably preemptive. It's it's 11 to 15. It's pretty fun. Cons is that you're not. I mean, you're only really playing this when you're playing strong club or strong diamond theoretically. But if you're playing strong diamond, realistically speaking, your one club can cope with this. But it's not being used on preempts, which is a bit of a problem. And what do you do with 6 forehands, right? If you have 6 diamond 4 major, do you open to 2 diamonds? And if you do, you have the same problem where you need some methods of finding these 4 major fits. Or maybe you have 6 diamond 4 clubs, and you can kind of see the 4 fits is a bit difficult. Okay, now we're going to talk about fan tunes. Fan tunes is Fun. So Van Tunes is 10 to 13, 5 diamond, 4 other suit, or 6 plus diamonds. So when you open Van Tunes, you're promising a bit of shape, right? It's not a 6 cards, but you're promising a bit of shape. And the process is that it is quite preemptive, and it's very high frequency because it's 10 to 13 range, right? So it includes the 10 high card point mark, which makes it very frequent. And I know you can probably open this week with a good 9 as well. Anyways, it's a bit of a constructive nightmare to bid over. That's the problem with Fantunes. You're kind of um, you're kind of flipping a coin here. Fantunes is a very swingy bid where constructively it is difficult for the opponents to bid over it, but also it's difficult for you guys to bid over it. And also, you're not necessarily using them for weekends. Like, obviously, it's high frequency. But if we think about it, we want to preempt with the weekends more than we want to preempt with the like intermediate or better hands, right? So, not having this bid for weekends is not ideal, right? Okay, now we're going to talk about multi two diamonds plus strong options. This is actually like a super common one, even at higher levels. Well, this might be actually a more common one at higher levels, but this is actually mostly a European thing. I think most North Americans who play multi two diamonds it only plays weak cleanings, which we'll talk about later. But basically, it's weak two in hearts or spades, plus some other strong options. I don't list all of them. You can play like one strong option, you can play two strong options. Some common ones are Aqua 2 Diamond Bit, Balance 22 to 24, strong three suiters. I've seen that around every now and then. Um, strong Aqua 2 in clubs, right? Something like that. The pros of this is that it frees up two major, and you're kind of putting more constructive hands that are more problematic into your system into your two diamonds bit, which is nice because it solves some constructive problems. The problem with this is that this is a forcing preempt, and like this gives the opponents a lot of options, right? Let's think. If it goes multi two diamonds on your right, you holding south hand, you have a lot of options. You can pass freely, which is very important thing here because when you can pass it freely here, a lot of the time you can describe you can say pass is going to have these strong meanings alongside just a normal pass, so that when it gets back to them, they can do something, right? They can do something else. They can double. They can take an action such that it shows a specific good hands. Yeah, and also because it's a forcing preempt, you're going to get more information when the round gets back. So that's kind of why like a CBL option one ever became a thing, and that's why a lot of multi defenses kind of allows you to say we're going to pass with a lot of hands, uh, in direct seat over the multi diamonds, and that kind of makes the preempt side of the multi two diamond a lot less good. And also the other con is that partner really, really, really can't properly raise here because um like if you're 3-3 majors and you have like a 10 count or 9 count, a lot of time your partner can just say, if you're playing only the weak option, they can bid 3 hearts or whatever and just say we want to play 3 major anyways, so let's raise it immediately. But the difficulty over this is that a lot of the time your partner has, because your partner needs to also cater for some of the strong options, they don't necessarily want to take space when you're not guaranteed that taking space is a great idea, right? Because if they want to slow down, they should slow down, but you know, this is difficult. And then we're going to go through some more flavors of this. Myxomatosis. This is the ACL version, so it's designed to play ACL. So it's a 2 diamond that shows weak 2 hearts or weak 5 spade 5 club, or as an ACL in 2 diamonds or 21 to 22 bow. So this is obviously very similar to multi with strong options. It solves a couple of constructive problems, right? And then it's somewhat frequent. You're freeing up 2 hearts, of course, which you're probably using it for the myxomatosis, myxomatosis 2 hearts and myxomatosis 2 spades. I won't get into that here, but basically it's an entire preempt system, right? And that's somewhat frequent. Now, the cons are that it's a forcing preempt, so all the things I said about multi-two dimensional strong option is true. Your partner still can't raise preemptively, like can't properly raise, especially preemptively, and because it has all these weak meanings and strong meanings, like if the auction just went two diamonds, three diamonds, your partner it's very difficult for your partner to take the proper actions because you're saying, I if they're the weak case, I don't know whether or not they have hearts or spades and clubs, and I if this also kind of applies to multi, but this is amplified here because there's so many more meanings. And also, this is illegal in most places. Yeah, brown sticker in WBF events, so you can really only play this in a couple competitions and like a couple times a year, which is unfortunate. And then now we have the hexagon two diamonds. So as you can see, this is kind of like the myxomatosis, but even more meanings with the five spade five club game forcing added, and the balance range a little bit different. Anyways, the pros of this is that it solves many constructive problems, right? If you imagine five spades, five club game forcing to be a constructive problem, and it is somewhat frequent. The cause of this is that it's a forcing preempt still, and partners still can't raise preemptively. It creates many constructive problems. Like, okay, seriously, you're overloading this bid far too much, and you just like in comp if you're like in comp if the opponent's bid over this bid, it's a nightmare for partner to properly do things, and is also still illegal in most places. We're going to talk about some fun ones here now. This is the myxomatosis in a strong club setting, which is, I think, actually a fairly fun opening bid. So it's 10 to 15, 6 plus diamonds, or weak 2 in hearts, or weak 5 spades and 5 clubs. Um, and here's the fun thing about this one. This one is not a forcing preempt. And it solves a constructive problem in strong club. Remember, it's an intermediate two diamonds. And it solves a constructive problem. It is also very, very, very nice frequency. You have weak two in hearts and weak five spades, five clubs, which was frequency wise, it's very nice. Cons is that you're going to play the wrong par score here and there, and um, that's however much you value that. Especially vulnerable, this can be a problem, especially if you go down 200, down 300. Um, when the opponents don't have game, you don't necessarily need to be doubled, and you will still have a poor score in those situations. And you're kind of ineffective in comp, like the opponent's bid over it. It's weird, right? And partners still can't raise preemptively properly. But also, I can't believe I forgot to put this in the slide, but it is illegal in most places. Brown sticker, go figure. And then now we're going to talk about some more well, they're called concept preempts or the red flash. It's either pre in diamonds or pre in hearts. Pros is that it's fun. It's good frequency. Cons is that you're kind of illegal in vast majority of places. You're going to play the wrong par score here and there. And it's not even obviously better than if you played like multi plus Moedebag and Lucas, which we'll talk about in a bit. Will cost is the old Polish two diamonds. It's any 5/5 pre, with the exception of both minors. That one gets open 2-0, I think. It's fun. Once again, illegal in vast majority of places, and you're just worse than multi and Moedebag and Lucas. A fun story about this one is that Polish team was, of course, playing this back in the day, and when it got moved to a brown sticker definition, they switched to multi and Moedebag plus Lucas. I'll just tell you guys, Moedebag is like a two major bid, showing five major and five minor, or five major, four minor. But in their case, I believe they will play five major, five minor. And when they switched to multi plus Moedebag, I think their scores actually improved. So the band did nothing. They improved the Polish team system, which is a fun story. So yeah, I don't think there's many reasons to play Wilkes's. It's like nostalgic, I suppose. Um, Okay, now we're going to talk about the big one, the week only multi. This one, I think, is the most commonly played multi version in the States slash Canada. Um, Slightly less played. There's a much bigger strong possible versus week only multi in Europe, I believe. But yeah, it's basically just showed week two in Hearts of Spades, and it frees up two major, and it creates some tricky problems for opponents because your partner is. So imagine your responder. Your partner is limited, right? Okay, the opponents might have game, or frequently have game when you hold a lot of hands. So you can say pass two diamonds, even though you not necessarily have diamonds, right? So this kind of changes multi from a forcing preempt to a not so forcing preempt, right? Or you can say I can bid three hearts, which is purely preemptive. Now, when my partner has spades and a very weak hand, they don't necessarily have to correct to spades. Now these are like mini psychs, but not like they're gray area in the rules. Realistically speaking, it's just preempts, and this is super commonly done. And it gets tricky. It depends on how you like to play, but this is a super common option. And calls are it's not great when they can bid two hearts over spade preempt. Um, which is not ideal because they're getting information easier. And also, another thing, I didn't write this in, but is that in competition, you don't know where your partner's major suit is a lot of the time, and you kind of have to just take the safer option. You can't compete as easily, which makes it difficult. Next thing we're talking about is Ekron. This just is a weekend with 4-4 plus in the majors. Personally, I think this is a fan favorite. It's very frequent. It's not the easiest to deal with. It's a fun opening. You get to open it quite frequently if you ever played it. The thing is that it gets penalized pretty frequently, and occasionally you'll play in the wrong part score. You play in the wrong part score like every now and then, definitely. And you might be better off playing Akron 2 Hearts. It's unclear entirely because the only thing about the Akron 2 Diamonds is that your partner can pass two diamonds. So over two hearts, your partner needs some way to sign off in three diamonds potentially, and that makes it constructively a little bit worse. And the last con is that just if because you're preempting with majors, it's not necessarily the most important chance to be preempting because the opponents likely doesn't have a major game. Now, of course, one thing about the Akron is that the opponents still probably want to find 5-3 major fits a lot of the time, and it makes it more difficult. But still, major hands just don't need to preempt as much. Now we're going to talk about the Bloody Mary, the 4 Diamond 4 Hearts week. All the same things we said about Akron. It's frequent and it's not the easiest to deal with. And the cause is just getting penalized here. But one thing better about the Bloody Mary as opposed to Akron is that the Bloody Mary does not, you're not preempting with majors, right? You're just preempting with diamonds and hearts. So better reasons for preempting here, I'd say. And yeah, you're going to play the wrong part square every now and then. But Bloody Mary is definitely a strong option, I think. Last one we're going to talk about today is Lucas. So there's a 5 diamonds for major week. The pros is that this is reasonable frequency. It's not as frequent as the Bloody Mary or Akron, but it's still good frequency, and it's kind of tricky to bid over because the opponents kind of have to keep all the major fits, right? You have to find 4-4 major fits, you have to find 5-3 major fits. Unlike the Bloody Mary, for example, the opponents can kind of give up on finding 4-4 heart fits and just focus on 5-3 heart fits if they want to try and find heart fits, right? So this is so the Lucas is a bit harder because your major is ambiguous. Now, over the Lucas, you're going to play the wrong par score quite frequently, right? A lot of times you have 4-3 in the majors and you have 2 card in diamonds. So you're saying, well, I kind of want to play 5-2 in the diamonds over a potential 4-3 fit, right? So you might miss your 4-4 major fit here and there. And constructively, it's a bit difficult. It's not the hardest thing in the world because you can distinguish range plus shape usually at the same time over like a tune open. but it is a touch difficult. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I had one more. I did not realize, but it's a quick one. It's two under, so it just shows a weak two in spades. I feel like if you've like been paying any type of attention during this video, I feel like you can know what my thoughts on this be. So figure it out. Anyways, just to recap, I have a couple favorites. I like lighter standard variants or like IHA variants with a little bit more restriction. I like the week only multi. Lucas and Bloody Mary, I think, are like a fun little thing. This is not a comprehensive list. I'm kind of missing a couple two diamond bids, like two diamonds showing four diamonds, five or longer major, or missing the Schulberg twos if people know what that is, or the Lorenzo twos. But this is most things that people will ever play. So yeah, I mean, let me know if you really care about some two diamond, meaning that I didn't talk about today. But anyways, yeah, this is kind of a fun list. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.